Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sid, and in today's video I am going to be talking about the monkey content creator Thabo and Ray. And before Ray and his monkey Thabo came on my radar, I had no idea who they were. But when I started to look into them, I did realize that I had actually seen them before. I had seen a video of Thabo jumping around a bathroom, and I didn't really think much of it at the time. But I really should have, because no monkey in that sort of situation is living a life that a monkey should live. And that is exactly what I found out when I started to look into their story. So Ray started posting Thabo, a Vervet monkey, to social media in 2019, and he quickly started to gain a following. He would post cute videos of him, answer questions, and share stories. One of the stories he would share was how Thabo came into his life. According to his earlier content, he got Thabo from a sanctuary after volunteering there, and that was also a method he recommended for people who wanted to get a monkey for themselves.
So you can go get your stripes, you can put in your work at a wildlife facility, and you can go about getting a monkey that way. That's how I did it.
Ray also warns people to be aware of all of the scammers within the exotic pet world.
But I will warn you, it is filled with scams. Exotic pets are one of the most scam prevalent transactions you could try to do on the internet, so be very careful.
But as soon as Ray started to get a following, he started to scam people. He claimed that he won $2 million from a slot machine in Vegas, but he didn't actually, and he was just using it as a way to get people to trust him. And the reason why he needed people to trust him was because he started to do these $750 giveaway scams. So he needed people to believe that he was able to give away $750 to people.
So as you guys previously saw, I won $2 million, and we had a recent giveaway where we were giving away $750 give outs on Cash App.
Also, at the same time he was doing this, another TikToker was claiming to be in a toxic relationship and needed money to get away, but she ended up being exposed as a scammer, and then Ray decided to piggyback off of that situation. He was claiming that he gave her $10,000.
Feel like this, but I'm reaching out because I have no other choice.
So I personally donated $10,000 to her. You've probably seen my other viral posts on the For You page. We have the FBI involved now. My full story about me donating my $10,000 can be viewed on my YouTube page. I have the link directly to the video in the bio, so you can see I probably am one of the highest donators. I donated $10,000, but we are going to get justice in this situation.
So he was using that situation to funnel viewers to his TikTok and YouTube channel. And then he upgraded from $750 giveaways to $1,000 giveaways. The website he was promoting as a $1,000 giveaway was just a website where people could complete surveys to get rewards.
I'm gonna need you guys to like, share, and comment because this guy is legit scamming you. First, click the link in his bio. Once you're done with that, click purchase and program requirements. This goes into their terms and conditions and their contract. Amazon is not affiliated by this promotion by any means. But let's go further into this contract. This man makes $1,000 per 10 surveys. 100 for 4, claiming that he is doing a giveaway, which it's not. By him claiming that alone is a felony crime. Google it.
So he was claiming that he was doing a $1,000 giveaway and hoping that people would just sign up to this site and not think much about it. But by that point, they've already given this website all of their personal details. And then that company sells their personal information to data brokers. And Ray is actually the one who gets paid for luring people in. He then voluntarily decided to move into a van, but he said that he was forced to live in a van.
So here's an update on being homeless for being kicked out as a Republican. So I have a van that's been my full-time car, and I've been working and turning it into like a little sleeper. I found like wood and stuff on the internet and carpet. I need to vacuum it.
And for this scam, he decided that he didn't need to trick the Thabo and Ray following, and instead made a new TikTok account called Black Conservative Sam. So on that account, he started a GoFundMe and raised $1,600. Online, it says that he is a registered Democrat, not a Republican.
This is a Trump hat, and this is a garbage can.
And he is still living in a van with Thabo to this day. He would post videos online of him and Thabo eating the same kind of food, which would usually be some form of junk food. He would also show him and Thabo living on the road and staying in hotels. And people did start to question if that sort of life was what was best for Thabo. Ray responded to the people who were criticizing him on Reddit for keeping Thabo that way. He said that no zoo or sanctuary could provide Thabo with a life like this. Thabo won't spend his life in an enclosure or a cage. But if the van wasn't enough of a cage, Ray does keep him in a cage inside the van. Ray would film people's reactions to Thabo in the van, and Thabo would be in a cage.
Damn, where'd you get him from, Madagascar?
I got a monkey for the Lolo.
A monkey?
But of course, Ray lets him out of that cage to film content. And a kind of content Ray films is letting Thabo loose in hotel rooms. Thabo would damage the room and break things in it.
Another hotel, another broken TV. It's okay, babe. You can destroy things. You're so cute. You can destroy all the things you want.
Those sorts of videos unfortunately got a lot of views, which would translate to a lot of money for Ray.
TV was only $750. The video made $2 grand. I made a profit of, $1,250. Might as well break more TVs, right? What's the problem?
And he seems to be totally fine doing this.
When you go in a motel room and it's destroyed, and you see little handprints all over, especially on the mirror. He loved to put his little hands on mirrors. Thabo and Ray was there. When you clean up that motel room and that motel room is trashed, we did it, ain't we, my boy? We did it, ain't we, my boy? We be destroying, don't we? It was us. We tore your motel room up.
He also routinely tricks his followers into believing that Thabo died.
I'm talking to the vet and I'm asking about, the treatments and this, that, and the third, and they're like, those treatments it's a priority list. Those treatments are not available for Just remember the good times of Thabo. Let the good times roll. I'm posting videos so that we can, the memories of Thabo, right? So everybody, I love y'all that's here for me in this hard situation time. I'm trying my hardest to get through it. I love y'all.
And almost always he says to find out the full story, you need to go to his YouTube channel.
Everybody chill. I'm gonna explain the situation in detail. Go to the link in the bio.
And then on his YouTube channel, he will say something like Thabo's TikTok era is dead, and that he will be posting on YouTube from now on.
Rest in peace to Thabo's TikTok era. There he is. Rest in peace to your TikTok era, because we're gonna be, YouTube is our main now. RIP TikTok. We'll see y'all at the next video. It's gonna be a whole lot of people salty.
So all of this just makes it very clear that this is a person who does not care about his followers, the people and property around him, or Thabo. But he does try to make it seem as though he cares about Thabo, especially when talking about where Thabo came from. Feel free to draw your own conclusions on this, but for the next couple of sections of this video, I will be trying to connect the dots and string together all of the inconsistencies and information about the tale of Thabo's past. Despite originally claiming that Thabo came from a sanctuary, the story continued to evolve over their time on social media. He started to exclusively say that Thabo came from a lab in Nevada after Thabo's mum died.
He's a rescue from a lab. It was a baby from a lab. We got him from a lab in Nevada.
On Reddit, he specifically said that Thabo's mum had undergone diabetic research, and the only lab in Nevada that tests on animals is actually the world's largest breeder of animals to be used in experiments, the Charles River Lab, and they have never had any interest in donating former research animals or their offspring to the public or sanctuaries. In fact, they're in the business of selling monkeys to biomedical researchers. In 2019, when Thabo came into Ray's life, Charles River was selling monkeys for research for $2,500. So the part of Ray's story where a lab supposedly gave away a monkey raised some red flags for primate experts.
I am absolutely 100% positive there is not a lab in the no legitimate lab in the United States that gives away monkeys. I know that. This never happens. Never, never, never.
Dr. Peta Tovic is a veterinarian who specializes in monkeys.
In none of those circumstances would any of these facilities ever give their baby monkey away.
He says they're typically euthanized.
You would never send home and give someone ownership of an infant monkey that requires around-the-clock care. Absolutely not.
But I will give Ray the benefit of the doubt. While he seems to have changed his story from Thabo coming from a sanctuary to Thabo then coming from a lab, it is possible that his complete story around Thabo is that a sanctuary rescued Thabo from a lab, but then he adopted Thabo from that sanctuary, and Ray just emphasizes whichever aspect will get him the most views at the time. But even if that was the case, Charles River giving a monkey to a sanctuary is just as unlikely as it giving a monkey directly to Ray. Ray has never publicly said which sanctuary he volunteered at, but according to his fish and wildlife application, he did 116 hours at the Suncoast Primate Sanctuary in Florida, and from that sanctuary to Charles River, it is a 40-hour drive. On Reddit, he said that the living conditions at sanctuaries can be pretty bad and that he's seen it firsthand, and according to his application, Suncoast is the only sanctuary he's had firsthand experience at. So if Suncoast can't even provide adequate living conditions for their primates, then they certainly don't have the resources to collect an infant primate that requires constant care from 40 hours away. So it's unlikely the lab would care enough to save a baby monkey, but it also seems as though that Suncoast is financially incapable of getting a monkey across the country as well. And also that is a fact that they are financially incapable. I could make a whole separate video on Suncoast, but anyways, regardless of where Thabo came from to end up at a sanctuary, it is also very unlikely that they would give Thabo to a volunteer. But on Reddit, Ray did say that it is possible if you put in the work and it takes years. I don't know where he got the impression that it takes years of volunteering to get a monkey from a sanctuary, but that wasn't the case in his situation. According to his volunteer log, he only volunteered a total of 2 weeks and 2 days at the Suncoast Primate Sanctuary. A part of his story is that while volunteering at the sanctuary, he became Thabo's surrogate mother.
It was like, you know, I was a surrogate mom, and then when I would leave him, he would just cry, and he wouldn't eat, and he wouldn't sleep until I came back, and then, you know, he would run and hug me and be so excited, and I'm just like, just a problem. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then I just thought about it long and hard, you know what I'm saying? I had a big, tough decision to make. And obviously, y'all know what decision.
So that would mean he would have had to have spent a lot of time with Thabo. In his animal care logbook that was signed off by the owner, Debbie Cobb, and long-time worker, Dina Green, it says otherwise. Not once is a Vervet listed as one of the monkeys Ray cared for. He cared for macaques, lemurs, capuchins, but no vervets. Even on his last day there, which was October 30th, 2019, there was no sign of a vervet on his logbook. But it was around that time that he got Thabo, because just a couple of days later, on November 1st, he signed a lease agreement in South Carolina. And according to his personal animal care logbook, that's where he started to raise Thabo on November 3rd. And he needed to keep a personal record of animal care so that he could then acquire a license to keep and own Thabo. To own a primate as a resident of Florida, you need a permit issued from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, also known as the FWC. And to be eligible for one of these permits, you need at least 1,000 hours of experience with primates. But if a written test is completed and passed, then the amount of hours needed would be cut in half. And Ray ended up doing really well at that test, so his hours were cut in half and then only needed 500 hours of experience. He had 116 hours of experience under his belt from volunteering at Suncoast, and then he got an additional 401 hours of experience from caring for Thabo at his address in South Carolina for a month. And yes, it's odd that he was allowed to own Thabo without a permit to begin with, and use the hours of experience he got from looking after Thabo without a permit towards getting a permit for Thabo. If that doesn't make sense, it's because it doesn't, and I'll talk about that again a little later on in the video. On top of that, he also needed 2 references. You would think the references he would use would be Debbie Cobb and Dina Green, you know, the people who signed off on the hours that he did at Suncoast, and the people who he supposedly got Thabo from. But instead he used his mother as a reference, which would of course be biased. And for his second reference, he used a veterinarian who treated Thabo for fleas when Ray had Thabo for a week. But this vet just saw him once and really wouldn't know if Ray was suitable to look after Thabo in the slightest. Debbie and Dina have extensive primate experience, so if anyone's reference would guarantee Ray getting his license, it would be theirs. But being references would mean that they would have to be contacted to confirm Ray's story, which could be a reason why they weren't used as references. But for some reason, the FWC approved of Ray's references of his mother and his one-time vet. And just like that, Ray had a license to own Thabo, and he applied for that permit as an out-of-state resident with his South Carolina address, even though he had a Florida driver's license and Florida number plates. But the problem for Ray is that if he was going to apply for the permit as a Florida resident, then he would have to prove a whole bunch more stuff. He would need to provide proof that he owns or leases land that is a minimum of 2.5 acres, meet FWC caging regulations, and be subject to annual inspections. And obviously that was not going to work if he was living in a van. But as an out-of-state permit holder, which is what Ray has, he doesn't need to do any of that. He just has to sign an attestation saying that he is doing all of that, which seems like a total flaw in the system, if you ask me.
You have to look in regard to your state and see if you can even legally have a monkey in your state. But we'll get to that after I tell you how to get one for free, because there's workarounds and ways around it.
I have also personally reached out to Suncoast Primate Sanctuary to see what they have to say, but I didn't hear anything back. Dina actually ended up suing Suncoast for owing her money, and Debbie was overthrown for misappropriating funds and letting a monkey die in her office. So I'd say those who are in charge now would want nothing to do with anything Debbie or Dina related. And if they actually did give Ray a monkey, then I'm sure they do not want to admit it now. But yeah, so many things just don't add up, which is why some people are leaning more towards the simplest answer, which is that Ray bought Thabo from a breeder and then just made up a whole story around Thabo. Michelle Sinnott, the PETA director, told Sun Sentinel that she believes Thabo was most certainly purchased from a breeder. And what adds validity to that is that Ray did have plans to purchase a monkey from a breeder. In September 2019, Ray applied for a permit to own a squirrel monkey. He mentioned in his application that he didn't yet own a squirrel monkey, but he planned on buying one from a monkey mill called KC's Ranch in North Carolina. That facility does not breed Vervet monkeys though, the breed of monkey that Thabo is. And the owner of that place, Chuck Boyer, told Sun Sentinel that Ray's name did not ring a bell to him and that he had to check records to confirm if he had ever spoken to him. But Ray did have actual plans to buy a monkey from this place. On his permit application, he said he bought a bunch of supplies to care for this upcoming monkey, and since he was applying for this permit as a Florida resident, which is where he is based, he had to provide some kind of proof for where he was going to be keeping this potential monkey, and he supplied them with a drawing of a room in his house that he was going to house the monkey in. So yeah, almost 2 months before he got Thabo, he was going to buy a monkey. Even though when he recounts the story of how he got Thabo, he seems to like to say that he never planned on getting a monkey, even though he made plans previously to get a monkey.
So I wasn't really supposed to have a monkey and keep a monkey. It wasn't like in the cards to like, you have a monkey, you know, it's a big commitment. He could literally be like close to 40 years old, you know, but it kind of is one of those things where it just happened. And now I got a monkey. I happened upon a monkey. So I wasn't supposed to actually like have a monkey. Like it was never in my plans to be like a person with a monkey. The monkey chose me, you know, I didn't choose monkey. But I wasn't supposed to have a monkey. Like it wasn't in my cards to be like a monkey. Like living my life with a monkey was not like a part of my plan.
Also, if Ray bought Thabo from a breeder, or even if a sanctuary gave Thabo to him, there would be some kind of paper trail. There would be acquisition papers or a bill of sale or some kind of paperwork to prove where Thabo came from. But Ray has never been able to come up with anything like that. But that is not where the possibilities of where Thabo came from ended. It was suggested that perhaps Ray took Thabo from somewhere in the wild. And those claims weren't totally unfounded because Ray has stolen animals from the wild before. In 2013, Ray was caught digging up a turtle's nest on a beach in Florida. The person who caught him in the act took multiple pictures of Ray as he was disturbing the nest. Ray told the witness that he had a permit to dig up the nest, but the witness did not believe him and took the photos to the authorities. And then in an attempt to find out who Ray was, the Florida Wildlife Commission released those photos publicly. And through that, they received several tips that led them to an apartment in Tampa, Florida, where they found a live loggerhead turtle inside, as well as several unhatched endangered sea turtle eggs. The authorities found pictures on Ray's Facebook page of a live turtle inside an aquarium on his kitchen counter, which indicated that Ray had it for a month. According to Beryl Martin of the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, the turtle found was not from the nest that Ray was caught rummaging through. Beryl said, "This is not the first time he has disturbed a turtle nest." Ray was arrested, put in jail, and then released on a $2,000 bond. When it came time for things to go to court, he was charged for having the live turtle and digging up the turtle eggs separately. He was being charged for the personal possession of wildlife and illegally destroying, taking, or selling marine turtle eggs. For the live turtle case, his lawyer filed a motion to suppress, saying that the police officer did not read Ray his Miranda rights. Then the judge ruled that Ray was too incompetent to stand trial and dismissed the charge. For the turtle eggs case, the judge also ruled that Ray was too incompetent to stand trial and that it could not proceed until Ray received treatment to restore his competency. That charge was also just dismissed. Then in 2019, Ray started a business where he sold saltwater fish and coral. It was called Sun Corals Direct, and on his website he had a bunch of corals, fish, and snails for sale, which he could ship anywhere in the United States. And when it came to actually making sales on the coral, he lacked an understanding for coral care and how they should be shipped in the mail. Pretty much everyone's animals were dead on arrival. Someone said they received just a bag of warm, dead soup. Another said that since there was no insulated box or chill pack, the coral arrived cooked and dead. Someone else said that what they bought overheated in the shipping box with coral flesh floating everywhere. He just had no knowledge and no regard for the animals he was sending. And to help promote his business, he started an Instagram page called Kim's Wild World. Kim is his actual first name and Ray is his middle name, and on this Instagram page he called himself an aquaculturalist and showed off a bunch of sea life. But he wouldn't show them having much of a life because all of the footage is of them close up in a tiny bucket or bowl. In a comment, he was asked if he gets the fish by dip netting, which is using a large net to scoop fish out of the water in the wild, and he replied saying he breeds and sells them. But he doesn't even know all the species of the animals he has.
Alright guys, this would be one of the first times that there's a fish species that I'm not totally sure what it is. If you can help me ID this guy, that'd be cool. I think it's a big-eyed squirrelfish. That'd be my guess. Yeah, I'm gonna look him up. I just didn't have time. I'll see if you guys can find out what he is before me.
So how can somebody breed and sell something when they don't even know what it is? All of the animals he posts on Instagram can be found somewhere in the wild in Florida. Spiny lobsters, feather duster worms, brittle stars, horseshoe crabs, and everything else can be found in Florida where he is based. And you know what else can be found in the wild in Florida? The species of monkey that Thabo is.
There's a lot of monkeying around happening in Dania Beach, Florida. A group of non-native monkeys have made the area home.
So I disappeared for a while, guys, and this is why. Had to raise him when he was like a baby. It was like bottle feeding milk every 2 hours. It was a lot. Thabo, say hi to Instagram. Thabo. We'll post cool content and stuff with Thabo. Thabo, let them see you.
In the 1940s, a handful of vervet monkeys escaped a research facility in Dania Beach, Florida, and ever since then, there has been a wild population of monkeys living there. The monkey population is made up of around 40 and is broken up into 4 social groups across Dania Beach. Some are very public locations like near an airport parking lot, and others are in much more secluded areas that aren't as publicly known. One of those locations is off a dirt road behind a row of warehouses not visible to passing traffic. And Ray posted a TikTok of himself at that location.
Look at this. There's like too many to count. And then, you know, they surrounded our car. But Thabo, he's ready to do battle. If I open that car, he would just run out there and just whoop some monkey behind.
Thabo, you summoned.
If this post gets 5,000 likes,
of these monkeys,
I'm gonna drop the @ You know, because when I say I know a spot, bro knows a spot.
So another possibility is that Ray took Thabo from the wild. And someone who believes that the strongest is Dr. Missy Williams. She started the Dania Beach Monkey Sanctuary to help care for the wild population of Vervet monkeys in Florida.
Dr. Missy Williams is the science professor who has studied them and is now constructing a sanctuary to safeguard them from a host of urban hazards.
People have occasionally poached some of these animals for the pet trade. They do get hit by cars, they're electrocuted, and then because of their non-native status, we can't trap, treat, and release, so they'll end up ultimately dying from a systemic infection. I wanted to help the monkeys, and the only way really to do it legally was to open a sanctuary.
She received an anonymous email from someone telling her that they could not sleep at night because of what they had seen on the Thabo and Ray TikTok account. She checked it out for herself and saw the videos of Thabo destroying hotel rooms, wreaking havoc, and eating junk food. She quickly saw that it was no way to treat a monkey. And then she also saw the videos of Ray visiting the wild populations of monkeys in Florida. She looked into their story further and discovered nothing was adding up. And with Ray's past of taking animals from the wild, she felt there was a high possibility he had taken Thabo from the population of monkeys she was a protector of. She alerted the FWC of Ray and requested his permit applications from them. On a permit renewal, he had changed his address on the form from the address in South Carolina to an address in Oklahoma. She contacted the person living at the Oklahoma address, and it wasn't Ray who picked up the phone. It was someone else who did know who Ray was and described him as a dirtbag, and said that they did not give Ray permission to use their address. As it turns out, he didn't really have a permanent address because he was driving around the United States in a van with Thabo, but as we know, he'll sometimes stop at hotels and unleash Thabo on the rooms at the hotels he's staying at. Since he's so frequently at hotels, his followers have questioned if he just lives in hotel rooms.
I guess we live in hotel rooms technically because we're always traveling, because we like to be on the road and explore and see cool stuff, right?
Since he was always moving around, that prompted Missy to keep an eye out for his location in his TikToks and contact the authorities in whichever area he appeared to be in to warn them about a potentially dangerous primate being in the area. Even though she was just concerned about the welfare of Thabo and the public safety risk he posed, Ray took to social media to accuse her of stalking.
This is the woman here who's been stalking us, and Deborah Missy Williams.
A journalist for the Sun Centennial in Florida spoke to both Missy and Ray, and they questioned Ray if he took Thabo from the wild. In the article, it said, even if Thabo had come from Dania Beach, it wouldn't be illegal for someone with the proper permit to take him because the Vervet monkeys there are not protected. Feast, which is Ray's last name, added that he has the proper permit. He also said, if there was an injured monkey in Fort Lauderdale, I could just literally get it in my possession, and then at that point, it would be illegal for me to release it and not keep it. Because Missy has been so outspoken about Thabo and Ray, she received an email that I have also seen from someone with a close contact at the FWC. They confirmed that an investigation was done on Ray and that it concluded that Ray did take Thabo from the wild. But it didn't matter because Thabo was a non-native species, and according to them, Ray had a permit. So that made it legal for him to take a monkey from the wild. While he may have a permit now, as we know, he did not have a permit at the time he actually got Thabo. According to his care log, he started caring for Thabo on the 3rd of November 2019 and didn't get a permit until the 4th of December 2019. So he didn't have a permit when he got Thabo, and he didn't have a permit for the first month of owning Thabo. Missy asked the FWC why he was allowed to own Thabo for a month without a permit, and they never responded to that question. So it would have been illegal for him to take a monkey from the wild because he did not have a permit at the time. And even if he did have a permit, all of these social groups of monkeys are located on people's private property, mostly businesses. And in order to take a non-native animal from somebody's private property, you need the landowner's permission to do so. None of the landowners gave permission and wouldn't ever. One business goes through 2 cases of bananas every 2 days to feed the monkeys that reside on their premises. And all of Missy's concerns about Thabo and Ray were soon justified, because on April 21st this year, 2024, Thabo got out of his harness and made a run for it in North Carolina. When Ray went looking for Thabo, he bumped into a woman walking her dog and warned her about a monkey on the loose. And shortly after that, Thabo jumped on her back and bit her upper thigh, leaving a 2-inch deep gash.
When you have a monkey, people often ask about the teeth. And they're like, does he have big teeth, dangerous teeth? And as you can see here, those teeth will go right inside of you like butter. He's not gonna bite me up. But anyone else, he will attack in the most vicious way. If you look on the internet at monkey attacks, he will do that. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Thabo is a wild, dangerous animal. And your chances of getting attacked by a monkey are low, but never zero.
Ray was able to gain control of Thabo again and lock him in his cage inside the van, but situations like that are exactly why primates should not be pets. It rarely ever ends well for anyone involved. Thabo's life is no life a monkey should be living, because now, by the looks of Ray's recent TikToks, he permanently keeps Thabo in a diaper on a leash. But so many people are going to continue to want primates when they see creators like Ray exploit a monkey so easily. He has amassed a following of over 3.5 million on TikTok, and according to him, he makes $50,000 a month. This has the possibility to influence other people to want to get a monkey, thinking that it is an easy way to get followers and money. That is why it is so important that the Captive Primate Safety Act is instated to protect primates from exploitation. If passed, it will prohibit the private possession of non-human primates and the sale or transportation of non-human primates for the pet trade. In the description, there will be a link where you can submit an automated email to your local legislators showing your support for the Captive Primate Safety Act. Remember, these people work for us and need to know what we want, so it's important that you do send off one of those emails if you can. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Let's take a moment of silence for all of the primates in labs and in the pet trade. And I will see you in my next video.